The airport lights were supposed to stay quiet that night, but at exactly 2:47 a.m., something happened that security cameras were never meant to capture. A black SUV suddenly screeched to a halt near the private runway entrance. No license plate lights. No announcement. Just silence and panic. Inside the control room, a junior officer whispered into his mic, "Sir, he's trying to leave. Right now." But what came back on the radio response changed everything. "Lock every exit." The judge just made an emergency order. And that's when the real chaos began. Because just hours earlier, no one expected this trial to go public. Not like this. Not televised. Not live. But at 9:17 p.m., the courtroom was hit with a decision that made even the lawyers freeze. The judge leaned forward and said one line that instantly broke the entire case open. "This trial will now be broadcast. Every single detail." For a moment, the room went dead silent. Then phones started ringing. Security started moving. And one name started trending before the judge even finished speaking. Tommaso Cioni. But what nobody understood was this. Why did he try to run the moment that announcement was made? And more importantly, what did he know about Annie Guthrie's case that made him desperate enough to leave the country before sunrise? Because according to one leaked court message, someone inside the system had already warned him, "If this goes live, you're finished." And that's when everything shifted. Because at 3:12 a.m., a second message leaked. And this one didn't just talk about the trial. It mentioned something even bigger. Something that was never supposed to exist in court records at all. And when the judge saw it, he immediately ordered the courtroom sealed. But it was already too late. Because by then, the story had already escaped into the world. And what happens next? Nobody is prepared for it. The entire situation didn't explode overnight. It was building for years beneath silence, pressure, and unanswered questions. And if you trace it back carefully, you'll realize one thing. This was never just a trial. It was a ticking time bomb, waiting for the exact moment to destroy everyone involved. At the center of it all is Tommaso Cioni, a man who once moved through elite media circles like he was untouchable. Known for his calculated silence in public and aggressive control behind closed doors, Tommaso built a reputation that made people nervous even when he wasn't speaking. Whispers followed him. Not headlines, whispers. The kind that don't get printed until it's too late. And then there's Annie Guthrie, a name that carried weight long before any courtroom drama began. To the public, she was composed, articulate, and carefully guarded. But behind that polished image, insiders claim she had been sitting on explosive information connected to powerful names in the industry. For years, both of them existed in completely different lanes, until one case forced their worlds to collide. The trial started quietly at first. Routine filings. Standard hearings. No cameras. No chaos. But that changed the moment a single rumor leaked from inside the courthouse. Judge is preparing something unusual. This case won't stay private for long. Nobody believed it at first, until the confirmation dropped like a shockwave. The judge had made a decision that instantly shifted everything. The trial would be televised. What? Unfiltered. Every testimony. Every reaction. Every breakdown. And that's when everything started to fall apart. Because in elite legal circles there is one unspoken rule. If a judge agrees to televise a case like this, it means the evidence is already strong enough to destroy reputations in real time. And according to leaked courtroom notes circulating among insiders, Tommaso Cioni wasn't prepared for what was coming next. But the deeper question is, why did he react the way he did? Sources close to the defense team claim that the moment the ruling was hinted at, Tommaso's entire behavior changed. Calm confidence turned into urgency. Phone calls increased. Meetings were suddenly moved behind closed doors. And one security guard allegedly described him as visibly panicked, like he had just realized the walls were closing in. Meanwhile, Annie Guthrie's camp reacted in a completely different way. No panic. No confusion. Just silence and preparation. And that silence is what made everyone even more nervous. Because in high-profile trials, silence usually means one thing. Someone is ready to speak, and they're waiting for the perfect audience. Old interviews resurfaced online within hours. Fans started connecting timelines. Anonymous accounts began posting cryptic threads suggesting that Annie had been documenting everything long before the case ever reached court. One viral post read, "She didn't stumble into this case, she's been building it brick by brick." And that's when the narrative completely shifted. What once looked like a standard legal battle started feeling like a planned exposure. A controlled collapse. Something orchestrated, not accidental. Court staff reportedly noticed unusual tension during pretrial procedures. Lawyers avoiding eye contact. Security tightening without explanation. Even journalists who usually thrive on leaks admitted something felt restricted, like someone had shut the system down before launch. But the most disturbing detail came from a leaked hallway conversation, one that allegedly took place just minutes after the judge's announcement. A staff member was heard saying, "If this goes live, he won't survive the first hour." No one clarified who he referred to, but nobody needed to, because at that point, everyone already knew exactly who was under pressure. Tommaso Cioni. And yet, the real shock wasn't the trial being televised. It was what allegedly triggered it. Insiders now claim the judge didn't make the decision randomly. There was something submitted, something so significant that it forced the courtroom into a rare emergency review. A sealed file. Contents undisclosed. But the reaction from legal officials reportedly shifted everything in minutes. One clerk described the moment as, "The energy in the room changed. It stopped being a case and started feeling like an exposure event." And that's where the real fear began. Because once a trial becomes public, there's no control left. No edits. No protection. Just raw truth, broadcast in real time. And according to early leaks, Tommaso Cioni understood that better than anyone. Which is why, just hours after the ruling was hinted, he reportedly made a move that shocked even his closest allies. A move that would later spark the biggest question in this entire case. Was he preparing his defense? Or preparing to disappear? The moment the courthouse doors opened that morning, something already felt different. Like the air itself was heavier, charged, unstable. Reporters didn't even need confirmation. They could feel it. Because inside that building, everything was about to shift from legal case to something far more explosive. And then it happened. A sealed emergency motion was suddenly introduced by Guthrie's legal team. Something that was not on the official schedule, not listed in any public filing, and not even hinted at during prior hearings. Security immediately tightened. Whispers spread through the hallway like fire. And within minutes, the judge ordered all non-essential personnel to clear the main corridor. That's when witnesses say Tommaso Cioni arrived. But he didn't look like the same man from earlier hearings. No confidence. No control. Just urgency, and something close to panic hidden behind forced composure. One court clerk reportedly said, "He wasn't walking normally, it was like he was trying to outrun something invisible." And then the first twist dropped. Annie's attorney stood up and said the words that instantly froze the entire room. "Your Honor, we are submitting additional evidence that directly changes the timeline of events." The judge didn't react immediately. He just looked down at the file and stayed silent for nearly 7 seconds. In courtroom time, that's an eternity. Then came the order. Accepted for review. That single sentence changed everything. Because what was inside that file wasn't just evidence. It was allegedly a chain of communications, recorded interactions, and time-stamped messages that placed Tommaso in situations that had never been mentioned publicly before. And according to leaked whispers from inside the courtroom, one document allegedly referenced intentional coordination to influence witness testimony. The room didn't just get quiet. It collapsed into silence. Even the reporters stopped typing. But what happened next is what no one expected. Tommaso suddenly requested a private consultation with his legal team. Denied. He tried again. Denied again. And that's when things escalated. Witnesses say he stood up abruptly and said something under his breath that wasn't fully heard. But the tone was enough to alarm security. One guard later described it as, "He looked like someone who just realized the floor beneath him was gone." Then came the second shock. Annie's team revealed a supplementary statement from an anonymous source. Someone allegedly close enough to Tommaso to know his movements in real time. The statement read, "He's not planning to fight this in court. He's planning to leave before it finishes." That's when everything broke loose. Phones buzzed. Security shifted positions. Court officials began moving faster. And outside the courthouse, a black vehicle that had been parked for hours suddenly started its engine. No one confirmed who it belonged to. But multiple witnesses pointed in the same direction. Tommaso Cioni. Inside the courtroom, the judge finally leaned forward and asked a question that changed the entire tone of the case. "Where is the defendant planning to go?" And before anyone could answer, a court officer rushed in holding a printed alert. Tommaso Cioni's passport status had just been flagged for emergency review. Possible flight risk. And that's when the real chaos began. because what happened next suggested this wasn't just panic. It was preparation. The moment the words "flight risk" echoed through the courtroom, the entire atmosphere shifted from controlled legal procedure into something closer to a crisis situation. Phones in the gallery started vibrating non-stop. Reporters stopped whispering and started typing furiously. And inside the courtroom, all eyes slowly turned in one direction: Tommaso Cioni. But what happened next made things even worse. Because instead of denying it, instead of showing confusion, he allegedly did something no one expected in a moment like this. He looked toward his legal team, nodded once, and quietly reached for his phone. That single movement triggered immediate reaction from security. One officer stepped closer. Another moved toward the exit. And within seconds, the courtroom felt like it was holding its breath. Then came the shocking reveal. A breaking update flashed across multiple internal legal monitors. A private jet reservation had been detected under a connected identity linked to Tommaso's travel network. Departure time, less than 2 hours. Destination, undisclosed. The room erupted. One journalist reportedly shouted, "He's actually leaving, this is real." And that's when Guthrie's legal team dropped the second bombshell. A live evidence projection was requested. Approved instantly. On the courtroom screen, a timeline appeared. Messages, call logs, and travel coordination details allegedly connecting Tommaso to a last-minute extraction plan. But the most disturbing part wasn't the flight. It was what appeared alongside it. A series of encrypted messages labeled only as Phase Exit Protocol. The courtroom went silent again, because prosecutors didn't have to explain what that meant. Everyone understood. This wasn't just travel. This was escape preparation. And then social media exploded. Within minutes, hashtags started trending. Hashtag Tommaso escape. Hashtag anti-trial lift. Hashtag courtroom explosion. A viral post from an anonymous legal account read, "This is no longer a trial. This is a live unraveling of a planned disappearance." Meanwhile, inside the courthouse, tension reached breaking point. Tommaso's lawyer stood up abruptly and demanded a recess. Denied. The judge responded coldly. "This case is now under active flight risk monitoring. No one is leaving." That's when Tommaso allegedly stood up again. But this time, security didn't wait. 2 officers moved closer. One positioned himself near the exit, and another whispered into a radio, "Prepare containment protocol." The word containment changed everything. Because now it wasn't just about court proceedings. It was about preventing someone from vanishing mid-case. And then came the moment that froze everyone. A court staff member rushed in holding a printed alert, his face pale, voice shaking. He handed it directly to the judge. The judge read it once, then looked up slowly, and said just 5 words. "He's not at the courthouse." Confusion erupted instantly. Because seconds earlier he had been seen inside. Security turned. Reporters stood up. Even Annie's legal team looked stunned. And then the final twist of the section hit like a shockwave. CCTV footage from inside the building had just been flagged, showing Tommaso Cioni exiting a restricted hallway that leads directly to an underground service corridor. A route that doesn't appear on public floor plans. A route used only for emergency exits. And now it was active. Which meant one terrifying possibility. He wasn't trying to fight the trial anymore. He was already trying to disappear from it. By the time the courthouse update hit the public feeds, the situation had already escaped control. It wasn't just a trial anymore. It had become a live global spectacle. And the internet reacted like a pressure valve exploding. Within minutes, clips from inside the courtroom were circulating everywhere. Blurry footage, shaky recordings, leaked audio fragments, and edited breakdowns trying to piece together what actually happened. But nobody could agree on one thing. Was Tommaso Cioni running? Or being removed? On X, Twitter, chaos unfolded instantly. One viral post read, "You don't try to flee a trial like this unless you know what's coming next. Something massive is buried in that file." Another account replied, "Or he's innocent and being trapped live on camera. This is not normal court behavior." The internet split into 2 sides immediately. Team Annie, Team Tommaso. And neither side was backing down. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag televised trial shock. Hashtag Tommaso live escape. Hashtag Annie Guthrie case. Even entertainment news pages that normally avoided legal stories jumped in, calling it the most unstable courtroom moment of the decade. Meanwhile, alleged insiders began posting cryptic updates. One account claiming to be connected to courthouse staff wrote, "They stopped calling it a trial internally. Now they just say, "the situation." That single post went viral within minutes. Across newsrooms, anchors struggled to keep up. One breaking news segment reportedly interrupted mid-broadcast. "We are now receiving unconfirmed reports that the defendant may have accessed a restricted exit system." Even they didn't know how to finish the sentence, because nothing about this case made sense anymore. Then came the celebrity reactions. A well-known media personality posted, "If this trial is really being broadcast and someone is attempting to leave mid-proceeding, this is beyond legal. This is psychological collapse in real time." Another influencer wrote, "I've never seen a courtroom turn into a chase scene before. This feels scripted, but it's not." That last line spread faster than anything else, because people couldn't decide whether they were watching justice or chaos unfolding on purpose. Inside legal forums, professionals were even more alarmed. One attorney anonymously commented, "If a restricted exit was used during active proceedings, that indicates a catastrophic security failure or inside knowledge." That phrase, "inside knowledge," sent a new wave of speculation across social media. What did Tommaso know? What was in that sealed file? And why was Annie Guthrie's team so prepared from the beginning? As reactions intensified, one more detail surfaced that changed everything again. A courthouse staff member allegedly confirmed that Annie had refused multiple delays before the trial was televised. She pushed for speed, for exposure, for public visibility. And now people were asking, did she want this chaos to happen in real time? Or did she know it was already coming? The final moment of the segment ended with a chilling development. A live news feed abruptly cut off mid-report. The last thing the anchor said before going silent was, "We are now seeing movement at the perimeter of the courthouse, and it appears." The broadcast froze, then switched to emergency coverage. And in that moment, the entire world realized the trial wasn't just happening inside the courtroom anymore. It was spilling outside, in real time. Just when people thought the story couldn't become any more unbelievable, everything changed. Again. Outside the courthouse, reporters rushed toward the growing commotion near the security perimeter. Police vehicles suddenly appeared from multiple directions. Cameras swung wildly. Microphones were dropped. Producers started shouting into headsets. Nobody knew what was happening, but everyone knew it was serious. Then a leaked radio transmission began circulating online. The audio was distorted, broken, difficult to understand. But one sentence was clear enough to send shockwaves across social media. "Subject may have had assistance from inside." Inside. That single word detonated across the internet. Because if it was true, then Tommaso's alleged disappearance wasn't a desperate act. It was planned. Carefully planned. Suddenly, attention shifted away from Tommaso himself and toward an even more disturbing possibility. Who helped him? Court employees? Security personnel? Someone connected to the legal teams? Nobody knew. And that uncertainty made everything worse. Meanwhile, Annie Guthrie's supporters noticed something strange. Throughout the chaos, Annie reportedly remained completely calm. No panic. No emotional breakdown. No visible surprise. According to several reporters inside the building, she sat quietly while everyone else scrambled for answers. One journalist later posted, "The only person who didn't look shocked was Annie." That observation immediately sparked new theories. How much did she know? Was she expecting this? Or had she uncovered something so explosive that none of this surprised her anymore? Then came the biggest revelation of the day. A sealed document referenced earlier in the proceedings was accidentally listed on a public court tracking system for less than 4 minutes before disappearing. 4 minutes. That was all it took. Because thousands of online users captured screenshots before it vanished. And one line from the filing became the center of worldwide attention. Additional recordings remain unreleased pending judicial authorization. Additional recordings. Plural. Not one recording. Not two. Multiple recordings. The internet exploded. What recordings? Who was in them? How damaging were they? And why hadn't they been released yet? Within minutes, speculation reached levels nobody had seen before. Some believed the recordings contained private conversations. Others claimed they involved meetings that were never supposed to become public. A few anonymous accounts even suggested that the recordings could implicate people far beyond Tommaso Cioni. Powerful people. Influential people. People whose names had never been connected to the case before. And then, the final bombshell dropped. Late that evening, a source claiming to be connected to federal investigators leaked a message to several news outlets. The message contained only one sentence. Tommaso is not the only person preparing for exposure. That was it. No explanation. No names. Nothing else. But those 9 words changed everything. Because suddenly this wasn't just about one man. It wasn't just about Annie Guthrie. It wasn't even just about the televised trial anymore. It hinted at something much larger. A network. A cover-up. A group of people terrified of what might come out next. And as midnight approached, viewers noticed one final detail that nobody could explain. Annie Guthrie's legal team scheduled an unexpected press conference for the following morning. No agenda. No statement. No reason given. Just a time and location. Which left everyone asking the same question. What could possibly be revealed next? That would make an already explosive case even more dangerous? Before you go, I need to hear your thoughts because this story has officially crossed the line from shocking to unbelievable. Do you think Tommaso Cioni was actually trying to flee the country after learning that Annie Guthrie's trial would be televised? Or do you believe there's a much bigger story hiding behind the scenes that nobody has uncovered yet? And what about those alleged unreleased recordings? If they really exist, who do you think is featured in them? Could they expose even more powerful names connected to this growing scandal? Drop your theories in the comments right now because some of the most interesting information in cases like this often comes from viewers who notice details everyone else misses. If you're enjoying these dramatic updates and don't want to miss the next major twist, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. The next update could completely change everything we think we know about this case. Sources are claiming that new information may be released very soon, and if that's true, the fallout could be bigger than anything we've covered so far. So stay tuned, stay alert, and keep your eyes on this story because what happens next could be the most shocking chapter yet. Until the next update, let me know below. Was Tommaso preparing a defense, or preparing to disappear?